Hello, my name is Holland, and today I'll be looking at my 2D game for Digital Media Studio 1. So to begin with, I'm going to give a brief overview of the game. So this is the character. As you can see, you move left and right, but if you hold down spacebar, which is the jump key, you cannot move left and right until the key is released, then you jump, and then you can move left and right again. You've got bread here, which adds to the score, as well as destroys itself and plays a sound. You've got a lift here, which has simple intelligence. It goes back up with the text play underneath it. You've got AI, which can detect walls, and then once it detects a wall, it will flip. And if it detects the player, it flips as well. And if it detects the player, it also removes some of the health. And if you lose all your health, you die, and you just come back with one less life. This lift also has a checkpoint associated with it, which I'll demonstrate by dying in a different way. So I'm going to apologise for the sound beforehand. Sorry about that sound, it's a bit too loud. So, you may think it's a little less robust, that I just have a way to jump out the level here, but I was demonstrating that most players try and make it an objective to jump out of the level, so rather than just having them fall endlessly, I wanted to make it so they could actually not break the game, and so they come back into level with one less life, and, you know, it's kind of a way to demonstrate that you don't just fall endlessly. And as you saw, I spawned in the lift rather than the actual, platform which I originally spawned on, and if I die too many times to the AI, I come up with the You're Dead widget, or it comes up with the You're Dead widget. You can quit the game and restart. So that's my game. So it's got collectibles, death barrier outside level, AI, lift. So all commonly used in platformers. So I'm going to start looking at how I've made it. So starting with simple stuff first, working my way up to complex. Pardon me. You've got the actual tile map, which was used for tile set for the tile maps. So this is actually how I made the level. So 2 layers, ground, and then the background's just a fill color. Again, I made a wall from that same tile map, so you can't jump out of everywhere. A lot of the textures went into the sprites went into the flip books for the animations, jump, walk, idles, so on and so forth. You've got sounds which I made myself for the bread, and then you've got blueprints. So again, I'm going to look at the most simple blueprints first. So you've got the You're Dead widget. So this is the quick game and the restart buttons with text on it. And if you come up to here, button 0 is the quit game, and then just quit the game, and then button 4 is just open a level, and it sets the input mode to game only, so again you don't have a mouse to play around with when you're playing the game. So that is just the You're Dead widget. If you come into the HUD, this is slightly different. If you come into here, it kind of like, depending on which one it's trying to get, it'll cast to a different place. So this one's trying to find the score. So it'll cast to the game mode, find out the score, and then display that. This will get the percentage of health, so it'll actually cast to the player, find out how much health he's got left, and display that. Whereas this one is trying to find lives, so this will detect how many lives you've got left in the game mode, and then display that. So that is simply how I've got the HUD to display the relevant information. Going on from the HUD, this is how it's actually displayed in the game mode. So the event begin play, display the widget, and it adds to the viewport, so you get the player controller as well, so that's who owns the widget. So that just displays quickly in, that's been already discussed in class. Now this detects if the player's run out of lives, so it has the variable of 3 lives which is used in that widget before, and that's a branch for true. If it's run out of lives, it goes to the You're Dead widget, adds it to the viewport, and sets it to input mode UI only, so you can't move about anymore, and this handles the player death on screen, so it casts to the player blueprint, and then sets visibility of it, and so on and so forth. Anything I skip over, the text will explain. So, reduce the player life by 1 and then revives the player, so this is basically if he's not run out of lives, so he'll come back, it will reduce the life by 1, set the new life, and it will cast it to the actual character blueprint and it will revive the player, which is relevant when you get actually into the player blueprint. So yeah, that's basically reducing the life by 1, and then reviving him. So we actually go into the character blueprint to show that off. So this is actually setting a checkpoint, which I'll get into later. But basically, if the checkpoint location is set, you can basically be there. So it's basically saying where a checkpoint is in the world location. This checks to see if the player is dead in 2 different ways. So event ticks, you have to check every tick of the level. So it branches out condition. If it's hit that death barrier and it's true, you cast the game mode and he's died. If that's not true, it'll go to another branch, and then if the condition is health is 0, and that's true, it'll go to the do once, and then it'll go to the game mode and he'll die. So that's 2 different ways you can die in my level. Health reaches 0, I hit the death barrier. So then you can also revive, so this is the revive thing. So you can revive the player, set the world location, set the health to 1, and depending on where you are, you either spawn at that checkpoint or the original spawn, and then you come back into this piece of code and you can die again to health 0 or death barrier. This sets the state to jumping and jumps on release, so this is basically the character jump, so you can see that pressed, it is jumping, and it sets the flip button to the jump animation. As if it's released, it goes to the jump, and then it actually does jump and stops jumping. So this is why you can't move left and right, because the variable is a Boolean variable and it's checking if he is jumping, and that if it's true, then he can't do any of the rotation, the movement, or anything. So this is basically movement. Whereas if it's false and he's not jumping, then you can set the rotation, so that's left and right, and then if you're not moving, you've got the idle animation, and then you've got the movement input, so that's basically how fast it moves, and then you've got the set flip book for the walk animation. So basically, you've got here movement that's been covered in class before, but it's just basically got a little more to it with the jump, not being able to jump mid-jump or whatever. So yeah, that's basically how I've covered movement and jumping and everything else for my player. So again, I'm going to go back to the simple stuff now because I've covered all those four. Going to the cat bread, this is simply if the player's in the detection box, branch it out to the game mode, add a score of 1, sets the new score, plays the sound and destroys the actor. So basically, if he's inside this little box here, it will increase the score by 1 and set it with just the float variables. So yeah, that's just relevant for collectibles. If you come into the checkpoint blueprint, so you come into here, sorry about that, if you come into here, this is quite similar to the actual collectible, so it's if the player gets inside the detection box with get player pawn, it casts the actual character blueprint, gets the world location for a checkpoint location, and then that's how the checkpoint works. So basically, if it enters that box, the checkpoint location's been hit, then the character will spawn there rather than the original spawn. Now if you come into the lift blueprint, which is half been done in class, half I went out my way to try and figure out a different way to do. So this just goes from the start to the end location, so that's the start, that's the end. So you've got the lift movement with the alert vector, so start and end location with vector variables, and then you've got the set world location. So playing it, it's going from the bottom to the top, and it's not going to the bottom it's not coming from the top to the bottom just yet because of handle movement. If you come over here, handle movement basically says reverse or play the lift movement path depending on where it is. So if it's true that it's at the top, it will reverse and go back to the bottom. If it's at the bottom already, it will go to the top with a delay of 1 second with the float variable, and it has the Boolean variable of reverse elevator. So again, that's when it's finished its first movement. It will start playing this code to do the opposite. So wait a second, reverse, wait a second, or play. This detects if the player is actually underneath the lift or the elevator. So if you enter that detection box and it's true, it will go back up. If it's false, it will just continue to come down. This sets the end and start location for the elevator. So begin play, you set the start location. So it comes into here, and basically it goes up by 16. How many blocks up is kind of like my unit of measurement, so how many blocks up it will go. So you've kind of got it setting its start location from the beginning. And then it goes up by 16, which is its end location. It waits a second and it does it. So that's how I've covered the lifts. Again, I'm not giving much justification because there was just a ton of code to basically go through, but I've kind of given justification through my notes. So if we come into the cucumber, which is the AI, if we come into events, you've got 3 different functions here, which I'll go over individually. So you've got damage player, which is basically casting to the character blueprint, reducing the health by 0.1 and setting that health variable. This is an event tip for walking detection, which we'll get into shortly. And then the flipper is basically flipping that AI around when it detects something. So the walk and detection is basically that's setting its movement and that's setting its flip book. I apologise for the coughing. And so basically after it's moving, it will send out a line to detect static objects such as walls. So if it does detect a wall, it will flip and then it will just continue on its way. So that's basically sending out that little red line you saw in the game. And if it doesn't detect a wall, it will try to detect a player with the same code. But if it detects that player, it will flip as well as damage the player. So it's doing the same thing as a wall, but it does 2 things instead of 1. So then, if we come into the actual flipper, so this is what it does if it detects a wall or a character. So it comes into here, sees if it's been flipped, it'll flip the numbers for the actual line and the movement to -1, -1, so that's the actual code for its movement, and then this will rotate the actual character sprite overall. So basically that's flipping the numbers and that's flipping the actual overall sprite itself. So yeah, that's basically getting everything to flip accordingly. So that's how I covered AI, and I think that's everything covered. So that's been all the code for my level. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.